I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to fill out the grant application. I truly read through some amazing, amazing applications, and I could really feel the heart and passion behind y'all's businesses. And I am investing in a business today, but I want to encourage you that if it's not today, it will soon be another day if you continuously keep going and you don't give up. And so I just encourage you to not let this be the end of you applying to grants, but you continuously learn and improve and get better as time goes on. And so I do have somewhat of a small presentation for y'all today. I will also be checking the chat to make sure that I can answer y'all's questions. But I truly, truly want to let y'all know that, especially now, take advantage of as many opportunities as y'all can. And grants is one of those opportunities that's money that does not have to be paid back. And so one of the things that I stress in my videos is that grants is one of the best forms of business funding because you don't have to pay the money back. There's no credit check. It's truly about you sharing your passion, your story, and your heart for your business. And so if I can feel what is the passion driving you, I know others can feel that as well. I also want to invite y'all to the Grant House. If y'all don't know about the Grant House yet, this is by far the best community for business owners that are looking to learn more about grants, apply to grants, and use AI to apply to grants easier and faster than before. And so there's a lot of exciting and new changes happening inside the Grant House. It is my private school community. I can put it in the chat if y'all don't have access to it already, but highly, highly recommend that y'all join that Grant House, as that is the place to be. And I've been partying with a few people saying the Grant House, the Grant House. So I really, really want to see y'all inside because there's so much to learn, so much to grow, and truly being able to connect with other entrepreneurs on this journey. And I will say, it's not always the easiest journey to be on, but when you're going alongside other people who are right there with you, trying to build, trying to grow, it truly does make a difference. So let me hop into this mini presentation I got going on for y'all, and then I can announce the winners, and we can talk more. Do y'all have any questions so far? My goal is to help as many people as I can. Grants can assist us. Yes, doctor, nurse, coach. Yes, that sounds beautiful. Yes. Do y'all have any questions for me before I hop in to this presentation? Let me know. All right, let's see if I can get this going. There's more than one winner. So each there will be around each 6 months, okay? So there will be one winner per 6-month time period. And so the grant application is now open for 2026. But as it relates to 2025, that grant application is closed. And specifically for my grant, there is one winner. But inside the grant house, there will be more opportunities to win grants there as well. But specifically for my grant, there will be one winner for 2025, and I will announce 2 winners in 2026. And I plan on growing right alongside with you. As my business grows, I want to offer even more grants. And so I want to show up, be more present for y'all, pour more into y'all. But that is connected to my business growth. So there's work I got to do on my end. And I hope y'all can support me with y'all's business growth as well as growing with me, So we're gonna grow together, and we'll take it from there. So how grants really work and how to win them. And so let's talk about what funders look for, truthfully, what they look for, what they need, and how to have an application that stands out. And so I was surprised truthfully, by the number of people that submitted a grant application. But that just goes to show how valuable it is to take home a grant, and truly the education that has grown around grants in general. So what is a grant and what is it not? So grants are strategic investments. A lot of times I've heard people being like, oh, it's a handout, or oh, technically, is it free money? And so technically, like if you think about it, you are trading your time for this grant, but you don't have to pay interest and you don't have to go into debt for it. And so, again, truly, truly, truly a great opportunity, but it is a strategic investment that that other business or foundation is making into your organization. And so, you got to be very, very clear of the value that you as an individual and you as that your business brings. So you as the individual and the business side of things. And so you got to hit it on both. You got to talk about what your business brings and what you bring to the from your organization. And so it's important that you talk about that, as well as accountability matters. Can you apply for grants to start a business? Yes, you can apply to grants to start a new business. And I did release a video recently talking about grants for new businesses. And so you do want to check that video out. I just published it about 3 weeks ago. And so going back into it, accountability matters. Funders expect impact, clarity, and full transparency. And so when you are applying for a loan, sometimes you might put your projections, right? So you can say, I project that my business will make $100,000 in revenue or $1 million in revenue. When it comes to grant applications, they truly do want you to share your story and be honest about that. If you're struggling, talk about the plans and how you plan on using the grant to get out of your current situation. And so they want honesty from you. They want your story from you so that they can then decide, are you going to utilize those investments or utilize that grant money to really grow, change your community, and change your life overall. And so you'll need to demonstrate how their investment will create real trackable results in your community or industry. In addition, you want to focus on outcomes over just ideas. And so you want to be very clear on the impact that winning the grant will have on your community. And so grants should be tied to concrete outcomes and deliverables, not just promising concepts. Your proposal must show exactly what will be achieved with the funding. And when I say exact, I mean exact. You want to clearly be able to specify, break down $500 out of this $1,000 grant. $500 will be used for marketing ads. $300 will be used to hire a freelancer to create a website. And then $200 will be used to pay for Facebook, or let's just say pay for a Facebook freelancer to do a few social media posts. And so you want to be very clear on how exactly the grant funds will be used. And so that clarity needs to be seen in your grant applications. And that was one of the huge differences that I saw, is that some people really went into detail and showed me that they had a clear vision and roadmap, and others they weren't as clear. And so that's a differentiator when it comes to who does well when it comes to applying to grants and who does not. And so grant judges want to envision and want to clearly see how you will use the funds. And the more them have that clarity, the greater your chances of winning the grant. Are there any questions so far? I think the chat has frozen a bit. Y'all got any questions for me? You got any questions? All right. Why most grant applications get rejected. Let's talk about it. So, understanding these critical mistakes can save months of wasted effort and dramatically improve your success rate. And so, one, vague business descriptions. That's one thing that will cause your application to be rejected. It's very important that you are clear on who your business is impacting and who you serve. And so, applications that lack specificity about what the organization does, who it serves, and how it operates are immediately dismissed by reviewers. Oftentimes, grant reviewers have hundreds, if not thousands of applications that they go through. And so unfortunately, they are looking at a way to easily cancel applications from the numbers that they are reviewing. And so you don't want to give them that chance. You want to make sure that you are clear and you communicate that in your writing. And so if you have any doubts about how to communicate clearly, that's where AI comes in. And that's what I really do talk about within the grant house. And I really stress is using AI to act as your grant coach, to act as your grant writer, and using it to support you in areas where you're not as strong in. What grant will pay for my LLC? That's a good question, Shakira. There are 5 startup grants that I mentioned in the earlier video that talk about that are perfect for new businesses. And so if you need the LLC, I would apply to one of those grants in addition to this grant, right? So if to anybody who would win this grant, they can use this grant funds, the $1,000 to pay for an LLC and have some money left over. And so you want to look after startup grants. All right. So the second thing that can get your application easily rejected is weak or missing budgets. And so you want to have and make sure you have complete financial statements in terms of breaking down again how you plan on using the funds. And some grant applications will even ask for profit and loss statements, right? They might want to see your cash flow. They might want to really see how are you managing the money inside your business. No worries, Shakira. I'm glad you're here. Better late than never. Really glad you're here. And glad everybody else is here. I want to just tell me hello in the chat if you're still here. All right. So weak or missing budgets, right? So you want to be very clear on that. Funders need to see exactly how every dollar will be allocated and why each expense is necessary, because they want to know again that you are using the money wisely and that the way you'll use the money will grow your business and positively impact people in your community. The third reason why you can get your grant application rejected is no clear use of funds. Generic statements like operational costs or program expenses. You want to be as clear as possible. You don't want to just say marketing, but you want to say, I want to spend $500 on Facebook ads to promote X product or to promote Y service. And so you want to be very clear on exactly why you need the funds and what they will be used for. Hi, thank you for saying hello. Glad that you're here. So if somebody secures a grant and fails to deliver, it depends on the organization. Some organizations might ask for those funds back because you didn't use them how you said you would use the funds. And so it is rare, but that organization does have the right to ask for the money back. So you do truly want to make sure that what you detail in your grant application is truthfully the plan, right? And so you want to put some thought and intention into how you plan on using the grant funds and then making sure you follow through with that. Next, ignoring instructions. And so on my grant application, I said, please respond to these questions in 250 words or less. And so you want to make sure that you look at the word count when answering questions. You want to make sure that you actually respond to the question that they're asking. And so if they ask you, what's your business idea? And you respond with a budget breakdown, that means you aren't paying as close of attention. And so I know when it comes to applying to grants, it can be overwhelming at times, but it's up to you to just take a deep breath, breathe, and then answer the questions the best you can. And I would personally say, I don't fill out grant applications right within the portal right away. What I would recommend is that you copy and paste the questions and put them on a Word document, right? So that way you can answer the questions however you want. You can use Google audio recording and then put it into the Word document, edit it and change it, and use AI inside of Google Docs to make it larger or to make the expand on your words or shorten your words. And then once everything looks pretty and finalized then you can move it to the grant application. And so using a Word document first and then moving it to the application makes things so much easier and less stressful on you to try to get it perfect right away. Are there grants that can be used to subcontract staff? I would say I haven't personally seen grants for that purpose, but I would say you can win grants for any purpose if you clearly say, "Hey, this is how it's going to support the community." You can also look at startup grants or minority status grants. And so it's about the way that you approach applying to the grant. And so you truly do want to focus on as you apply to grants, focus on the community impact, focus on the people you're serving. And if you're very clear on that, then you can win a grant no matter the type of business that you have. All right. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to instructions, you have a clear use of funds, you have a clear budget, and you make sure you're clear on your business and who you serve. All right. So what winning a grant applications have in common, right? We want you to have a winning application. They have a clear business purpose. They articulate their mission, their audience, and their value proposition with precision and clarity. They know who exactly they help and they know why they serve them. They also have a specific use of funds. They have a detailed breakdown showing exactly where each dollar is going to go. They have realistic goals, achievable milestones with measurable outcomes and timelines. And so at times it can be good to be ambitious, but on a grant application, they want to see, can you really make it happen? Can you carry out the goals and the timelines and the projects that you included in the application? And so you don't want to be too stretched. You don't want to have too stretched of a goals where it's not realistic within the grant application. And so it's more like under promise, over deliver. You also want to have strong alignment. So perfect match between your mission and the funder's priorities, right? And so if you read through the grant application when applying to my $1,000 business freedom grant, you would see that I'm looking for new businesses or business owners that are trying to start anew or start afresh and wanting to come back better than before, right? And so going into 2026, how are you going to make things better this year than they were the previous years? And so success isn't about luck. It's about preparation, meeting opportunity. You got to be prepared for this. And so I would personally recommend that you have a go-to list of the common grant application questions so that when you go into the grant applications, you're ready to go. And at least you have a foundation that you can then start and build upon. And so winning applications demonstrate that you've done the work before asking for support. And you know exactly how you plan on using the funds if you were to win it. Any questions so far? All right. So clarity beats fancy writing every time. Simple language wins. Grant reviewers read hundreds of applications. They want to have clear, straightforward language that helps them quickly understand your proposal and makes a stronger impression than complex jargon or academic prose. And so they don't want to have to look up acronyms or not understand what's going on. They're wanting to have straightforward language where they can clearly understand what you're saying and what you mean. Direct answers score higher. Answer each question directly without filter or fluff. Reviewers use rubrics and scoring systems. And so I shared a scoring system within my official rules page where I clearly broke down what you needed to do to have the best application. I talked about community impact. I talked about clarity. And so for each grant application, you do want to read the scoring rubric so that you can tailor your application to that to make sure you cover every single point so that you can have the best application possible. And so they're looking for specific information, not creative storytelling or elaborate narratives. They want you to be honest, right? And so with the story you're sharing, you want to be truthful. You don't want to make anything up. You want to be clear and truthful with what you're sharing. And so it is very important that funders understand your work and what you're about. And so you don't want any confusing language. All right, so an example of some confusing language is we seek to synergistically leverage cross-sector partnerships to facilitate capacity building initiatives, right? That's confusing and that's a lot, right? But instead you can be clear. We will partner with local businesses to train our staff in financial management, helping us operate more efficiently and serve more families. And so the clearer, the more simple you are, the better your application overall will be. All right, your budget is the backbone of your application. And truly, what stood out to me are the grant applicants that spelled it out clear as day. 500 here, 200 here, 300 there. The clearer you are, the better your application will be. I cannot stress this enough. All right, so show it. It looks like there was a question, but we had to take, it was retracted. All right, Sweet Mission, feel free to ask another question. All right, so shows planning. A detailed budget proves you've thought through implementation thoroughly, not just dreamed about the idea. So the more they can clearly see that you're going to spend the grant funds, the more likely you are to win. Demonstrates responsibility, realistic numbers, and careful allocation show funders you'll be a good steward of the resources and of the grant money. And it also helps build trust, right? Because I am and other grant sponsors are investing in you, right? And they want to believe that you're going to spend the money on exactly what you say you're going to spend the money on. And so when you have a clear budget, it helps them build trust in you and your business just from reading a grant application itself. And so your budget tells funders whether you're ready to execute your vision or still figuring things out. It's a difference between a dream and a plan. I'm happy you're here as well. Thank you for being here. All right. So what a strong grant budget includes. A winning budget is specific, realistic, and directly tied to your proposed activities. Here's what funders expect to see. Clear line items. Each expense category is explicitly named with no vague groupings. We got marketing materials, not miscellaneous costs. We got exact dollar amounts. So we're going to say $1,500 or we're going to say $500, not about or some of the money, but no, specific dollars. And so precise figures based on research and quotes, not rounded estimates that signal guesswork. So you want to be specific. Business related expenses only. Please do not put on the grant application that you need to spend the money on personal matters if it's not a personal grant. And so if you're applying to a business grant, you want to clearly specify it's going to go towards business expenses. And then lastly, you want to have a direct connection to impact of your community, right? You want to show you're helping your community and you're pouring into them. All right, so some of the things you can cover are staffing and training, equipment, marketing, as well as supplies. These are 5 really good categories that you can use the funds for. All right, so let's talk about getting grant ready, right? So my grant is a startup grant, but I know you're probably wanting to get $5,000, $10,000, even $50,000 or $100,000 in grant funding. Like this is just the beginning for you and your journey. And if truthfully that is just the beginning, there's some things you want in place. Where would you put the budget proposal? That's a good question. Where I would put it within my documents, right? So before you apply to any grant, you want to have your documents ready to go that have your business plan, your budget breakdown, as well as detailed information about you and your business and the funding strategy. All right, so some of the things you want to have to be grant ready. You want to have a legitimate business set up. So, proper registration, tax status, and legal structure. This includes a nonprofit 501c3 status, if applicable, EIN, and required state registrations. Or this looks like having an LLC or a corporation if you're a for profit business. And so, if you're wanting, again, those high ticket grants, you want to have the structure in place, as that makes your business truthfully stand out from the other applicants. You also want to have a clear offer or service, a well defined value proposition that's easy to explain. And so I know that starting the business, getting these set up can have its challenges. And so I try my best to support within the Grant House and on my YouTube channel, right? And so, but these are the points that really help you stand out. And so the more time you focus on this, the better you are at winning, the better chances you have of winning the grants. Also, you want to have organized finances. Some grants, especially the higher ticket ones, like the 10,000 or the 20,000 ones, they want to see your financial records. They want to see your bank statements. They want to see that you're managing your books well and that you're doing well financially, that you can plan on using the grant funds in a very good way. So funders may request financial statements, so have at least 12 months of clean records ready. You also want to have defined goals, so specific, measurable objectives with clear success metrics. Know exactly what you want to achieve and how you'll measure progress toward those outcomes. Shakira, that's a good point. So if you don't have money for an LLC, I would personally try my best to save up as best you can to get an LLC. And if you're not ready yet for it, that's completely okay. You can apply to the startup grants. But I would, as you're applying to those startup grants, like this $1,000 Business Freedom Grant, the Hello Skip Grant, the Coach K Legacy Grant, the Nehemiah Davis, or sorry, the Coach K Grant, and the Nehemiah Davis Greatness Grant. Yes. And so those are some of the grants that are startup grants for new businesses that you can apply for. And I have them all listed out within the Grant House as well. And so you can access them in the Grant House, and you can also check out my most recent video that I published about 3 weeks ago that is specifically for startup grants with no business needed. So I'll look to those. You also want to have defined goals as mentioned. So specific, measurable objectives with clear success metrics. Know exactly what you want to achieve and how you'll measure progress towards those outcomes. All right, so putting it all together. Grants reward preparation. Systems matter more than luck. And so the easier it is to apply to these grants, have everything prepared and ready to go, the better chances you have. And so execution separates winners from the applicants that unfortunately don't take home the grant. And so the difference between hoping for funding and securing it lies in the work you do before you ever click submit. All right, so let's talk about the winner of the 2025 Business Freedom Grant. And again, I just want to say thank you to everyone that applied and submitted an application. I know y'all put a lot of time and effort into it. And I just want to say that I encourage you to keep going and to trust that there is grant funding, there is opportunity on the way for you if you do not give up. And so I want to hear a drum roll or like y'all to say yes in the chat before I officially announce the winner of my $1,000 Business Freedom Grant. Yes, Sweet Mission. Yes, you do. Unfortunately, it is expected that you do have an LLC in place, but I would say, again, I would apply to the startup grant. So I just recently published a video. I'll share it in the chat real quick so that you have it, but it's a grant specifically for new businesses. So I'll share that with you real quick so that you have that. Yay, drum roll, whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, so the winner of the $1,000 Business Freedom Grant for 2025 is Lisa Jones Jackson. She is the founder of the Tax Mom McKinney, and she has a wonderful, wonderful business that helps students transport, or it's a student transportation franchise for children and teens. And it helps get them to school for working parents that are very, very busy. I personally know my dad worked very hard. My parents worked very hard, and having transportation for their children would have been helpful. And this organization does just that. It helps the parents. It helps the kids have safe transportation to and from school. So congratulations, Lisa Jones Jackson. You did a wonderful grant application, and everybody else here, y'all did an amazing application. I appreciate y'all for applying, but Lisa Jones truly stood out. And I just want to say thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. Um, and so when it comes to applying for this specific grant, I will give Lisa 24 hours to respond from now. I'll also follow up with emails to let her know. And if she does not respond, then I can move on to the second and the third place. But I just want to say congratulations, Lisa. You did a wonderful, wonderful job with the application, and so did everybody else. I do plan on offering some more feedback and support within the grant house on truthfully what stood out, what worked well, what didn't. And again, I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for applying. Feel free to let me know. Yes, there were some close runner-ups. There really, really was some close runner-ups. It was hard. I'm not. It was a hard decision, but she Lisa had clarity, and I could truly see in my mind, like, if I was investing in this business, I could really see it helping those kids and helping those teens. And so just having clarity on that impact was just really what made her application stand out over the rest. The top 5 applicants. Woo, okay. Well, let me go back. I can go within the application and take a look. Let's see. Anybody else have any other questions? It would be great to have feedback on your application, okay? Okay, I will get to working on that. I would say if you want feedback, the best place to be is inside the grant house if you're not already. Shelly, are you in the grant house? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Lucretia, for celebrating. It's exciting. Yes, congrats to Lisa. All right, let me see if I can pull up the applications. So I would say a very, very, very close second was, let me see if I can. Simon at sentimentalevents.com. Let me see if I can. Oh, yes, Cinnamon Graves Gillard. Very close second. Cinnamon was very, very close second. So the Grant House is my own private community. And so it is free to join. As of now, it is free to join. It won't always be free, but right now it is free. And so I have access within the Grant House. There's access to over 100 grants inside, ranging from $1,000 to $100,000. The Grant House, if you want to win a grant or if you want to have a place where you can apply to grants, access them easily. The Grant House is where you want to be. And you also get to connect with other entrepreneurs as well. You can ask your questions inside of there. You can share your pains inside of there and just have a supportive community that's going to walk with you and support you. Here you go. I just dropped the link right there to the grant. Yes. So when it comes to using personal funds, you can write out yourself a loan, or you can write out yourself a contract to get it get an agreement down that you are borrowing money from your personal self to your business so that it doesn't count as income because you don't want to pay taxes on that. But yes, you can use personal funds to grow your business. And that's what I did. When I first got started with my YouTube channel, I used my own personal money to get going. I never knew it would get to where it is now. And so sometimes it does take when you're starting your business to use personal funds if you can't win grants. And so I would say that grants is a part of a larger strategy, right? You want to try to apply to grants. You want to grow your income so that you can then use that capital to grow your business even more if you need to. You also want to use business credit and business loans if you can access that. But I would say business loans is a more advanced form of business funding. And so you got to work your way up. Thank you, Quest. Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you think grant reviewers can tell if you use AI? I I personally think what they matter more or they care about more is, are you sharing again your personal story and your background? You do not want your application to look like AI, but nowadays, like if you're not using AI, you're not using a resource and tool that is there to support you. And so if an application looks really, really good and stands out in a good, positive way, I don't think they care whether or not you use AI. And you just don't want it to look like you use AI. And so some applications, I didn't see it this specific time around, but I've seen it on other applications that they have asterisks, right? And so that typically means you just copied and pasted right from ChatGPT, right? So you want to make sure that if you're using these AI tools, you don't have it look like you're using the AI tools. And so that's one of the things that's common is you see a bunch of asterisks that show up. And so you don't want the judges to see that. And I would also unfortunately say I would move away from M dashes. I think M dashes are okay, but they are associated with ChatGPT and AI now. So I'd be careful about your usage of M dashes. Any other questions? Yes. So when it comes to reimbursing yourselves, I would have a contract in place. And so I can see our inside. Once you go and join the grant house, I can tell you more about it. But there is a contract that you can use to where it counts, where you can say that you're borrowing money from your personal self for your business. So it doesn't count as income. We can talk about it more inside the grant house because truly that is the place to connect with me more. Yes, Sierra. Yes, yes. Yes, it's just like when it comes to AI, sometimes it does appear like asterisks before and asterisks after. And so it's just making sure that you don't just copy from ChatGPT and directly paste into the grant application. And that's why I personally recommend you use a Word document first. Yes, so you can create a contract, sign a contract where you are borrowing funds from your personal self to your business, right? And so when you have those contracts in place, then it won't count as income. Yeah, so now it was once a year, but now the Business Freedom Grant is twice a year. And so the next deadline will be June 30th. But there are so many more grants that you can apply for in addition to mine. And the best place to get access to those grants is inside the grant house. Yes, yes. So grant anytime you win a grant, it is counted as income. And so yes, you will need to report funds. It is counted as income. All right. So, are there any other questions? Any other questions about grants while I'm here? I'd be more than happy to answer any additional questions about grants, how to use AI. I will be launching some new AI digital products very soon. I'll walk you through how I won a grant myself using AI and how it helped me. I do plan on launching that as well as a grant system that will help you every single time go through step by step when it comes to applying to grants so you don't have to start from scratch anymore. And so I will be releasing some digital products very soon that will walk you through the grant application process a lot more, make the process a lot more easier for you. Yes, the consulting firm can join the grant house on your behalf. Yes, they can. Yay! Excited to have you in the grant house. Yes, I would recommend you set aside money for taxes. I would recommend you do that. Yes. Yes, as of now, the grant house is free to join. It will not always be that way, but yes, as of now, it is free to join. So I recommend you join in as quickly as you can. Sierra, you said have someone solely applying for grants. What do you mean? Yes, congratulations, Lisa. Congratulations. I'm so glad. I'm glad to have you, Janae, in the community. And please feel free to ask any questions that y'all have. I'm thankful and appreciative to have each and every one of y'all here. I know that having y'all here is a blessing, and trying to grow, offer value to y'all each and every day in the best way I can. So excited for what 2026 is going to bring each and every one of us. It's going to be good. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yes, yes. This live session will be saved and it will be published on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna work on doing some more lives. I know it's not within my wheelhouse, but it's something I need to do more of. So excited to go live more, to be present more, and really support as much as I can. And also, let me share a quick link to the grant house so that you have that. There we go. There's a link to the grant house. All right. Well, I will let y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's Monday. And I'm so glad that y'all spent some time with me. And I am excited to see where we go next. And I hope y'all's 2026 is off to an amazing start. What is my favorite business bank? Joe, that is a great question. I really like Bluevine right now. I'm really team Bluevine right now. And I can drop my link for you. I personally believe in having multiple business checking accounts, as I have about 5 to 7 business accounts alone. But Blue Vine is definitely one of my personal favorites, as I really do like making interest on my money. I will never again let my money just sit without collecting some sort of interest. And so previously, like, this is not what you learn typically in the education system. You think, oh, I have to pay interest if I take out a business credit card and I don't pay the full balance. But no, like, I am all about banks paying me. I will not again have a bank not pay me if they're going to have my money sitting there. And so I must get paid. And Blue Vine does a good job of having a high yield interest and consistently paying me month after month. All right. Well, Joe, I included my Blue Vine link there. I really like Blue Vine. Let me know if you have any questions at all about the different options available, and I can walk you through some of the pros and cons, as I do have accounts with most of them. So do let me know if you have any questions. All right. Well, I will give y'all's Monday back. Joe, if you have any more questions, I'll be at the Grant House. That's where I'm going to be. So I can't wait to see y'all again, and I will let y'all enjoy the rest of your Monday night. All right. Bye, everybody.